Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Made her through another crazy week of weather. We went from almost double digits above in Celsius to minus 13, minus 14. We had a snowstorm. Just crazy winter. Looking forward to spring coming and get out and enjoy some nice weather for a change. It'll probably be hotter than a firecracker this year. So anyhow, I'll show you what I'm working on, what I've got done, and what I got left to do here. So still waiting for parts as usual. I've been working on a bunch of little stuff here while I'm waiting. And we've got, I'm not sure if I mentioned before, but these are my heater tubes. They used to run underneath the intake manifold, but I had to modify them for the truck intake. And these little pink devils here are the factory Chrysler O-Rings. And I don't know if it's because they're pink or not, but they're worth about $15.30 a piece Canadian. And according to Sky over there on Reignited, if you don't replace them, they're going to leak on you. So he said to use trans goo or something. That's what he always uses. It's an assembly lube for assembling transmissions. So I Googled it because there's no place around here I can buy it, and it's just glorified Vaseline. So I've got the one done. See if I can get you positioned here. This one right here goes in, the O-ring's down in there, it comes up. It used to go straight back behind the intake. I cut it, welded it, brought it up here. And the way I checked these for leaks was with methyl hydrate. If it's going to leak, methyl hydrate will find its way out of it. So I filled the tubes, let them sit, and there was nothing came out of there. So the other tube, I'll see if I can get you positioned here, I'm not sure. It goes in a hole right here, I believe. Yep, right down there. And then it gets bolted here, and it'll run along the valve cover here. So I'll see if I can get you positioned so you can see what's going on. As Arco would say, excuse the bad camera work, but I'm a garage hack, not a cameraman. I guess that's a good way to put it. So see if I can get you up here high enough. Oop, drop you on your face. How about a little bit of telephoto? See if that works. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of Vaseline on this O-ring that's made out of purple gold or pink gold. We'll get this stuck in there. Make sure that hole's nice and clean. I knew I had a bolt for this thing here somewhere, right there. Run that in. This will allow me to run the heater hoses conventionally up to the firewall there where I have the bulkhead fittings. I got lots of room for the intake. It's already been on there. There we go. Heater tubes are installed. The other things I've been working on, I'll just pop you out of the tripod here for a sec. If I can do this without screwing up too bad. So I've been playing a little bit with the wiring while I'm waiting for parts and pieces. I've got these two wires here that come out of the firewall. Just let me take it off zoom. A bit clearer picture. Okay, let's focus. The heck's going on? I'm losing you. There we go. Focus is coming back now. Here we go. It's going the wrong way. So anyhow, we got those two wires come out, come down. I had to lengthen them a bit. Then I had to do this. I believe it's 3/8 NPT fitting out of the block there, a 90, and then my oil pressure sender. The other wires come up here, and what I've done to allow the use of the old school gauges with the Hemi is in this machined area where the thermostat goes in, there is a nice flat area right here that you can drill and tap for 1/8 NPT for your sending unit. It worked really well. It's about 1/2 inch thick, depth-wise into the area right above the thermostat, so it works really well. So I've got that all wired up. What else do I have here? I've got a bunch of the wires sorted out on the other side. Bunch of stuff I don't need. This was my tack signal. This will go away. It's going to be run underneath with the Dakota Digital STA 100 tack driver and OBD2, which will give me my check engine light. So out of all of the wires that come through, this group here is all extra stuff in the engine harness that was never used on the Hemi, and it'll remain that way. This one here, I'm not sure what it is. I have to check that one out. This is my ignition wire from the ignition switch. The only thing I needed down here, I've got my battery cable. My starter wire is all hooked up here. It's all ready to go. If I was to turn on my battery switch, I could turn this over right now. So still waiting for the compressor to come in. I can't put the steering in until the compressor's installed, so kind of busy waiting for that. And then the other one I did is this power steering delete. When I welded it together, I had mentioned that it's a really porous casting. So what I did was I welded on a strip of, I think it's 040. It's about 1/8 or a little better than an 1/8 as a backbone on it to strengthen it up. Just, I didn't want any issues with that. And then we'll go underneath and I'll show you what's happened under there. I got a bunch more done. Just put you on the tripod here. Lift this thing up. That gun locks are pretty loud. Get a light turned on. And take you underneath here, so. Okay, so on the underside, I have my shifter hooked up. It's all adjusted. I had to modify the arm. Had to bend it up a little bit, put a kind of a Z bend in it, drill a new hole, and calculate the movement it needed for all the gears. Got my neutral safety switch wire installed on this side. A little bit more complicated. So that pressure port up top is one of the main transmission pressures. What I've done is I took a piece of 5/16 steel line. Flared it. I have a T and a 90, and I have two pressure switches there. One is 52 psi and one is 50 psi, and it's a kit that you can get from PATC Transmissions. It also has a vacuum switch that goes up top. What it does is it takes and shifts the transmission into overdrive when the pressure reaches 50 psi, and it'll lock up the torque converter at 52 psi. And then the vacuum switch up top, when you put your foot into it, shuts both of them off and drops it out of overdrive, so you don't have to install toggle switches on the dash. So it's pretty simple to wire up. I got to run a wire from each of them over to the switch harness that goes into the transmission, and that's done. So the other thing I've done is, hopefully I can show you this. If you look up here, there's a black tin plate, another black tin plate there, and one behind the starter. So those I had to fabricate to close in the dust, keep the dust and dirt out of the ring gear and stuff. It was a bit of a pain in the butt making them. There used to be a spacer plate on the Hemi that went between the two, which I couldn't use anymore because the Hemi had the starter on the passenger side, and this 46RH has the starter on the driver's side. I've got motor mounts are all in and torqued with Loctite. I got the cross member in; it's all ready to go. So I'm closing in on a bunch of the small stuff on this, getting that all done. All the transmission mounts and everything are in and tight. I'm ready to install a drive shaft. And we're far enough along on this that I was able to do a list of final assembly before it goes, before I can drive it. And I think we're at about 15 items on the list. So far I got nothing on the to buy list. I'm sure that's going to grow. You know how that goes. It never ends. So I got fuel tank return line fitting I have to put in, so I have to pull the fuel pump, or the fuel tank, sorry. I have to install a fuel pump and filter, fuel return line, the fuel line, intake manifold has to go on, install the rad, install AC lines and compressor. All the lines are made. It's just a matter of putting them all together, getting everything set up. Pressure test the AC system. I've got a bottle of nitrogen. Going to use my oxygen regulator, and I'm going to pressurize the system to 150 psi. Check for leaks, and then I also bought a vacuum pump as well as the gauges and everything for charging the system. Heater hoses have to go on. I'm going to redo the Hemi wiring harness as far as wrapping it, sort the wires out, clean it all up, mount the PCM, transmission cooler lines. I bought some 3/8 steel lines for that, throttle pedal and kick down. The pedal's ready to go in. I have to mount the kick down cable underneath the car, get it so it's adjusted. I have to put in a new tack. The one I have is faulty. Install the headers. The headers can't go on until the steering's on, and the steering can't go on until the compressor's on. So everything's tied together, and install the drive shaft. And then she should be pretty much ready for its first burnout, guys. So that's where we're at. Hopefully this week is as productive as last week was, and we can get a whole bunch more checked off the list here. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you on the next one next Sunday. Take care. Guys, had to come back real quick. I couldn't leave this Sunday without checking something off of my list. To show you, I got one thing off, mount the PCM. That's done. Did that in conjunction with repairing or redoing my shroud rods here. So what I have is the PCM is mounted just in front of the firewall off of the rods. It's going to allow me to, I'll put a waterproof cover over top of it just to shed the water down. I'm going to bend it back just a little bit more and add a gusset from this bolt down to stop it from vibrating there. So that should take care of that. It's going to keep all the wiring underneath the hood, and there should be enough airflow with no sides on my hood to let the air out. So anyhow, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. I'm getting really close to 300, which is pretty awesome considering not even a year ago I was down at 90 some. So thanks a bunch, guys.